Rumblies, I am the Fragnostic. Warm, slobbery welcomes, tail a wagging and nose all shiny to a brand new Retro Rumble 2. The younger, but just as mean-spirited sister to Retro Rumble. Both potent equals in their levels of psychosis, but if you want to take this anthropomorphization of a video series to the ugly end of the railroad here, Retro Rumble 2 has slightly bigger boobs, enjoys the early ultra-violent westerns of Lucio Fulci, and lost her virginity to a 9.5-foot tall wicker man she constructed with a stair banister for a penis. Tonight, we begin our godless rampage through Capcom's DINO Crisis, developed in-house and released in the July of 1999 for the Sony PlayStation, with ports following for the Sega Dreamcast and Windows PC the year after. Let's be on our way now. We've got our introductory cutscenes to plough through. Pick normal if you're anything other than the most incapable of special needs children, or be judged by gods more vengeful than I.
You have mail. The second report from Military Experiment Facility. Agent name, Tom.
I have successfully infiltrated under the guise of a researcher as planned. I have encountered no information regarding top-secret development of new type weapons, but I have discovered there is an unexpected individual at this facility. The man is Dr. Kirk, the leading authority of our nation's energy research. Dr. Kirk was alleged to have died in an accident during the course of an experiment 3 years ago. The reports were premature, and it appears that he is currently working as the head of a non-weapon project at this facility. The experiment is in the late stages of development. Regarding the staged accidental death, it appears that this country is somehow involved, recommending that necessary actions be taken immediately.
Refer to the data on Dr. Kirk.
I love the deceased alarm there. Oh shit, he's dead! Sound the alarm! We don't have our own intelligence on Dr. Kirk, so we had one of the interns scan all the local shit rags. Spent all of our money on this ridiculous migraine-inducing operating system. Don't have funding left to pay field agents with. We do have an excellent archive of Garfield comics though. If you look in the lower background there, you see the screen just listing off world capitals in lowercase text for some reason.
Operation.
I love these garbage 90s computer screens. Yeah, look at this. And, did you see that? And what? Give me my objectives in full, you fucking Capcom. Enjoy the FMV.
Approaching the drop zone.
Feels like we've got a little turbulence.
Once you hit the ground, head straight to the designated convergence point. Got it?
Sorry I'm late.
It's time. Let's move out.
What about Cooper?
Forget him. Time's up.
Wait! Wait!
And that's as decent looking a T-Rex as you're gonna get in the 90s. Nope, can't think of any other famous examples whatsoever.
Okay, this is the first checkpoint. Playtime is officially over, kiddies. Something's wrong. The lights in the guardhouse are out.
Maybe this has been a wild night of partying for the guards. You know, a little song, a little dance.
Stay here, Junior. Leave the guards to me.
Hey, did you hear what he just called me?
Forget about it. Just let Gale handle this.
All right, it's clear.
Rick and Gale there, your two secret operation raid team colleagues. You'll grow to hate them just as much as I do.
Okay, let's do this. I'll infiltrate the facility and occupy the control room on the first floor. I should have access to all the security systems from there. I'll contact you as soon as I've cleared the room.
Rick is the black comic relief that Capcom have been wanting to shoehorn into their game since before the first Resident Evil. No amount of bullets will kill the creature on his head that he calls his heart.
Let me guess. This is some of your handiwork, right?
The brass is still warm. These guards were shooting at something very recently.
So who were they fighting?
This wasn't much of a fight. I don't think these guards hit anything before getting sliced and diced. Whatever they were shooting at came in through there, and ripped right through the steel fence.
Well, the hole is nice and clean. But I still say you could have done this.
Very funny. We still need to figure out what happened here. Continue to sweep the area.
I think the thing I love most about Gale is his incredible sense of humor. The dude looks like his idea of a joke is telling his CO that he left the kids alive in the last Viet Cong village he massacred. This opening section of Dino Crisis is pretty cutscene heavy, so I'm going to avoid explaining anything too deep until they're out of the way, so you can listen to them, but just from the basic playstyle here, you can see where the game's common Resident Evil with dinosaurs tag comes from. Fixed cameras, movable furniture, dialogue that makes you wish your eardrums had tear ducts so they could weep their pain away. All the hallmarks of Capcom's premier survival horror franchise. Yes, Gale, guns fire bullets. Fuckwit.
Rick here. I'm in. The place is deserted, though. I have a very bad feeling about this.
How's the progress going with that security system?
I don't know what's been going on here, but it looks like all the power in this facility is being cut.
Same here.
As long as that's the situation, there's not a lot I can do. Why don't you see if you can gain access to the backup generators on the ground level?
I'm on it. What are you doing here?
I caught the last part of your conversation.
By the way, I found a key.
Hand it over. Let's head outside.
Regina's not to be trusted with keys, apparently. Not after last time. Damn it, Regina. I told you to unlock the armory with that thing, not scratch pig fucker into the side of my truck. What about Cooper? There's a history that just because it isn't in the script doesn't mean it's not real. Do you need everything spelled out for you lovelies? Read between the lines. Fun fact, this cutscene is where I first learned the word eviscerated.
That's disgusting.
This guy's been eviscerated. Something tore his intestines straight out.
Look at those tooth marks. It had to be some sort of animal.
Okay, let's move on.
Never got around to calling them intestines though, seeing as I wasn't born on the bayou. Heavens to Betsy, Miss Juniper, from the smell of my business, I do believe I'm afflicted with a calamity of the lower intestine. You still get the same roving ambient dialogue you got back in Resident Evil if you're too stupid to figure out how to go through a door.
I'll stand guard here. You go inside and take a look around.
Massively helpful, I'm sure, for game journalists of today revisiting these retro titles. No door tutorial. It's Dark Souls with dinosaurs. Here's our very first puzzle of the game. Match the conductors to the coloured levers on the wall. Very puzzle heavy is Dino Crisis, to a fault, quite honestly. Mixed with the heavy scientific literature, large stretches of this feel like a college entrance exam. That one's easy enough, obviously. I'm not a simpleton, but soon we'll be dancing with cryptograms, flashcard memory games, and all the other boring shit your mum used to tow out to play on a rainy day.
Gale?
Sounds like Gale's got bored and started shooting the windows out. Bend over for Uncle Sam, you commie zoo. Gale's your Barry Burton here, swapping out Barry's stupidity with an unhealthy lust for punching dinosaurs in the throat. Speaking of which...
Gale!
Ladies and gentlemen, the Velociraptor, God's own people. Now, I'm gonna flee for my fucking life here, not only because you get an extra scene out of it, but also because trying to kill anything in Dino Crisis with your pistol is like trying to mow the lawn with your arse. You will have selected, by far, the worst tool possible for the job. Think you're safe? Think you... You're not fighting those shit for brain zombies anymore, sunshine. Raptors are smart. Didn't you see Jurassic Park 3? They run their own fucking airline in that one. You're not worth a second fence jump to this one though. Enjoy that while it lasts. From now until eternity, these scaly bastards will be chasing you from room to room with the same mercy that the Chicxulub asteroid showed them. Well, better tell Rick that history's broken.
Back online. What's the situation over there?
It's Gale. I lost him.
So what's the bad news? Did you run into some guards?
You're not gonna believe this. He was attacked by some kind of dinosaur.
Now that's a good one. So, who was it? Barney?
This isn't a joke, you idiot. We were just attacked by a big-ass lizard.
For real? What's going on over there? Alright. Head over to the control room and we'll sort out this whole situation.
Rick is, without a doubt, some sort of high-ranking general's cousin, because there is no way on God's earth that anyone would ever allow him and his attitude problem anywhere near a job delivering newspapers, let alone one in a specialist government cell without some form of inexplicable coercion. Oh, they smell you. You smell like pretty. Raptor wanna play? Raptors are your staple enemy in Dino Crisis, vicious, speedy beasts with a ton of health that can bite, pounce, and tail whip you for shocking levels of damage. Taking them on with anything less effective than a shotgun is a hideous idea. Raptors will shrug off your pistol bullets like fly bites and lunge straight at you with a leaping attack too fast to reliably dodge, which will knock you down for a mauling. Now, even if you manage to knock the raptor down, it will retaliate with its tail and can easily disarm you in the process, wasting more precious time scrabbling around to retrieve your weapon that would have been better spent running the fuck away. They can eat anywhere from 10 to 16 standard pistol rounds before finally going down for good, before which point, in normal mode at least, they will most likely have torn you to ribbons and called a mate over to share the bleeding kebab that is now your corpse. Velociraptors! Not even once.
What's our status?
This security system is a snap for me. Real amateur stuff. So, what exactly happened to Gale? You said that he was attacked by a dinosaur?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I just hope he's still alive. Anyway, our first priority is to complete the mission.
What we ought to do is just call in the chopper and get off this death trap.
That's a great idea, but Cooper has the radio, and he's missing. Hey, what's with this monitor?
That's the security monitor for the underground area. The camera's offline.
So I take it that means power still hasn't been restored to the area.
Exactly. They must have that area wired to a different power system than the ground level.
Well, we can investigate that area after we finished our sweep of the ground level.
Okay, then I'll take care of the shutters that are blocking the way. You work your way in, grab the dock, and then rendezvous back here.
Is it me, or is he wearing more makeup than Regina?
Yeah. Now what I want to know is where those things are coming from.
He's even got lady eyes. I swear to God, he's like that shit from Jeepers Creepers where the monster needs to kill people to steal their eyeballs for some reason. Habitual glaucoma? Who knows? Now, right through here, we got our first serious piece of anti-dinosaur kit. It's the Franchi Spars 12 shotgun, which you may be amused to know was the same weapon wielded by gamekeeper Robert Muldoon in Jurassic Park. Discs and plugs here. There's an email on the computer in the corner of the office that briefly clues you in on the former. The plugs I'll explain properly once we start using them. Will you read the email? Mercilessly, please inform the new employee assigned to this department about the DDK system as follows. The Digital Disk Key, or DDK, is a system that secures our most important areas with an advanced locking device. To release the locks protected by the DDK, prepare and set the following two data disks at the locking device near the door: DDK Code Disk X, DDK Input Disk X. The type of the DDK you need is indicated on the door, A, B, etc. If the DDK type you use does not match, you cannot release the lock. Before operating the system, make sure that your DDK type matches the door you wish to unlock. You're going to be juggling discs and keys like some sort of unicycle riding stationary clown in Dino Crisis. Here's another one, the Panel Key 2. The chilling sequel to Panel Key, starring Robert Sean Leonard. I'm going to cheat a little bit here and pop this code in early to cut down on some backtracking. You know what it is, literally 2 rooms away from here, so it's hardly a game breaker or anything. And this cupboard of wonders grants us yet another key and a resuscitation, which does exactly what you'd expect it to. I'll run you through the catalogue of medical items you can get here once we hit a slow couple of minutes. Now, you see here, as you attempt to leave, the door offers to save your game for you. These magical doors represent the entirety of your save system in Dino Crisis. Your precious ink ribbons are no more! You are at their slidey, unknobbed mercy.
I took care of the shutter. You should be able to access the control panel now.
Already? That was quick. Thanks.
Hey girl, just get going.
Regina has sad cow eyes, don't you think? I'll explain the laser grids and the fun you can have with them in just a second. For now, I want to continue rudely ignoring the corridor raptor who patiently waited for you to finish your conversation with Rick and read this guardsman's journal. Before tonight's experiment, the Chief and Dr. Kirk will be having a meeting at the second floor lounge from 1 PM. Those who are scheduled to guard should keep a preponderant eye on the area in front of the Chief's room and the surrounding vicinity. Before taking positions, be sure to resupply your ammunition in the custody room. The weapon storage in the custody room can be opened with the combination 0426. Also, we have received information that spies have sneaked into the facility recently. If anything happens, you may have to enter the rooms of the Chief and the Professor in order to ensure their safety. You will find the disk that contains the information you will need to access their rooms on top of the locker. That's all for now. Of course, we found absolutely no weapons and weapon storage, but check this out. That raptor's knocking on the door like we owe it money. Dinosaur money. And this is what you can expect most of the time if you don't kill him right away. Ignored corridor raptor will not be ignored. Fuck your table. Of course, I don't want to rename him now, so I'm going to carry on ignoring him. The dinosaurs in this game might all be tough as an unwashed wanksock, but they're equally simple to run away from. Helping you in that endeavour are the laser fences here. You can switch them on and off at your leisure to keep these prehistoric pests away from you. Now, as you'll see a little later on, they will never quite cotton on to the fact that they can't attack you through the laser fences, which will result in them comically lunging at you and bouncing off the beams like they fucked up running for the Hogwarts Express. And it's maybe the only time you can feel completely comfortable picking them off with a pistol too, if not maybe the tiniest bit ashamed. Now, let me clue you in on a few of these here healing items we've got ourselves so far. Regina doesn't actually have any kind of health or status bar, so you have to rely on visual cues to tell you when she's hurting. Now, they're super subtle, so you'll have to watch very closely, but you'll want to start healing her right about the time she's pissing blood all over the fucking floor and limping about like an 85-year-old sea captain with gout. Now, the bleeding's one of a handful of new feathers in Capcom's jaunty survival horror hat. Even if it doesn't really... Whoops, excuse me, Sleepysaurus. Doesn't really work that well. See, on the one hand, it's essentially a poison status. The longer you go without dealing with it, the less healthy you become, but it's also meant to allow the dinosaurs to track you down more easily, which they seem to be able to do whether you're bleeding or not. So, here's a memo from an antenna operating engineer. Why not? As a result of tonight's experiment, a strong magnetic storm may occur. Consequently, the communication department will close at 6 PM. At that time, the antenna will be temporarily stored. To prepare for the emergency, be sure to check the weapons storage locker in the lounge. You can unlock it with the combination 8159. Recently, inexperienced guards have been assigned here, and a common problem is that they do not know how to use the DDK. Here are some points that may not be clear in the manual. Make sure that your staff becomes familiar with this important information. After you set the DDK to the door's locking device, you'll be asked to enter the password code. You will then need to derive the code by using the basic elimination rule. Eliminate the key letters to reveal the correct code. Be sure to try this out by setting an actual DDK to the door locking device. For example, code OXPZN key XYZ. In the above case, the correct password would be open. Let me tell you, they have absolutely zero faith in you being able to comprehend this bloody DDK system because there are no less than 4 separate attempts to explain it to you through the memos. But here, I'm about to show you in clear and easy terms what they stumbled about like a bunch of stuttering Stanleys trying to. To open a DDK lock, you need to find a key disc and a code disc. Don't worry about the details, just get both the discs. Now, take all the letters under key and take them out whatever you see under code, which in this case leaves you with head. It's so simple. They couldn't explain it to you like that. Why? There is a kind of impenetrable layer of sciencey waffle over a lot of the plot and puzzles here. But more after this.
Are you from the rescue team?
Yes, I am. Do you know where I can find Dr. Kirk?
Kirk? That fool! What's he plotting now?
What are you talking about?
Here. Take this.
What's this for?
I don't know. Told me extremely vital.
There's the long-lost brother of panel key 2 that we'll be using right at the other side of this desk. Now, you may have noticed some strange letters along the top of both the panel keys. Would it appall you to know that they're not letters at all? Just like Mr. Irons from Resident Evil 2, this cheeky chief's office has secret things, hidden ways concealed about the place. Check out the panel keys before you use them, and you'll actually see that the letters are upside down numbers. SOL becomes 705. You have to remember that, by the way. If you can't, you got to take the panel keys back out and look at them again, and it's all very pedantic and vexing. And LEO becomes 037, giving us 705037, and not Solio. Jesus Christ, when I first played this as a 13-year-old kid, I was charging about the facility for a good couple of hours looking for a hidden cave to open with my new magic word. Solio! Solio, Regina commands you! Trying to bewitch the raptors with my new dinosaur magic. Solio! Destroy my enemies, you wretched beast! but no, it's a number for this safe. The opening of which annoys a different kind of security measure altogether.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh, fudge puddles! I ain't fighting that. You kidding me? Like, no, I'm out. Of course you are meant to fight the Tyrannosaur and drive it away with a few solid shotgun blows to the chops, but there's certainly no advantage to it. You take too long about it, the fucking thing will grab hold of you and maul you like a chew toy as well, so, you know, save your ammo. Just over here we got a memo explaining a little more about the healing items, the chemical manual. Worth a read. New product descriptions: recovery aid, anesthetic aid, intensifier, multiplier. The 4 chemicals listed above feature our company's latest advancements. They are designed to perform exceptionally, particularly on the front lines where only the minimum amount of equipment is accessible. Features: by mixing chemicals, the following 2 types of supplies can be created. Recovering type, it quickly recovers lost vitality. Anesthetic type, applied to the head of a bullet or needle, it can put the target to sleep. Supplies that are produced by chemical mixing can be made even more effective with additional mixing. So, you know, just like the infamous Raccoon City Herbology Guide from Resident Evil, a transparently vague pamphlet, perhaps crippled more by manufacturing costs than anything else. And here's a nice little pistol upgrade. Look, why would you ever need to kill anything in Dino Crisis? They're absolutely fucking useless, aren't they? No wonder you went extinct. There's 2 upgrades to the Glock 34 that you can get in the game, and this first one will transform it into a Glock 35, allowing us to fire the more powerful .40 Smith & Wesson bullets. Doesn't actually increase the firing power of the standard 9mm rounds, which I guess is technically accurate, but not explicitly explained to you, so don't go wandering up point blank to a raptor with your new gun and your raggedy arse ammo thinking you're hot shit or anything. Sometimes the 2 in there will run back out to chase you, sometimes not. Depends on what they're drinking, I guess. Alright, so, healing and support items. Let's hash this out. You got your medipacks to heal you. You got your hemostats to stop your bleeding. And you got resuscitations, which do the same things as continues in this game, bringing you back to life at the start of the screen you died on. Now, in addition to those, you got mixing agents, which can only be used by combining them with something else, anesthetic aids, which are mostly for creating tranquilizer rounds, recovery aids that bump up the power of your healing items, intensifiers, which do the same thing but better and with your ammo too, and multipliers, which just make more of whatever base item you blend them with. We'll see the mixing screen right here because I only ever remember to use it when my inventory's full of crap. So many different combinations to make. You get a preview of the end result at the bottom of the screen, so you're not just flying blind here. But you can see that, for example, you can make a medipack that also stops your bleeding by mixing the hemostat in with it. There's very little rhyme or reason to any of this. Like, why would a resuscitation, an item that revives you, create a lethal poison dart like it does here? I don't know. Don't waste those though, they are the hottest of hot shit. Alright, give me my anesthetic aid. He could have really used that himself, that looked like it stung like a son of a bitch. Personnel changes of researchers. Old section, special aircraft, experiment room. New section, third energy physics laboratory, registration number 57036, name Mark Doyle. There's a whole puzzle a little bit later on where you need somebody's fingerprints and registration number to forge an ID pass, and you can use Mark here, or you can use the corpse that's much closer to you, so, you know. Sorry, Mark. Right at the back of the entrance hall, you'll get your first real taste of what a ludicrous pain in the dick this DDK system can be. After Rick.
I've unlocked the shutters near the entrance. One more thing. I just caught a glimpse of something on the monitor that looked human. It should be somewhere near the front of the training room, so check there first.
Maybe later. Busy now. Alright. Check this out. Come on! God damn it, is that really fucking necessary? How does anybody get any fucking work done in this place? My word. Newcomer. Newcomer's your ticket in. Sure you don't want me to do a crossword too? Shit's on my chest. Now, you're going to find yourself doing a whole lot of mixing in this game because your inventory space is authentically pitiful for a £100 woman in a skin-tight outfit. Look at this guy. Well, he was wearing white. Now he's wearing his insides on his outsides. It don't make no sense. Get the sheriff out here. Yeah, your carry space is a sick joke. You can't really plan around what you're going to pick up either because half of these item drops are randomized. One time you might get ammo, another time you'll just get a shitty anesthetic aid, but there is a storage solution available to you. A somewhat convoluted one, but a solution nonetheless. Uh-oh, here they come again. Remember in Jurassic Park, back when raptors used door handles instead of just barging the fucking things open? Back when dinosaurs had manners? This new generation, I tell you. Excuse me, sir. There was a time a dinosaur would step aside and tip his hat to a lady. Alright, here's another occasional nuisance you have to deal with. It's that most primitive ancestor of survival horror QTEs. The danger event. So something dangerous happens, and just in case the severity of the situation isn't clear to you, the bottom of the screen starts going, danger, danger, and that's your cue to mash all the buttons like a madman. Oh look, Gale's come back from his rock climbing excursion.
Gale, you're still alive. Good timing.
What is it? Another lizard?
That's no lizard. It's a dinosaur.
Dinosaur?
Look, something's really wrong with this place. This whole mission has gone sour.
Hey, it's always eat or be eaten out in the battlefield. No matter who or what you're up against. Any word on the dock yet? I've got to hook up with Rick again. My radio's dead and he's the only one who can fix it.
So, if you don't hammer all the buttons fast enough, I'm sure I don't need to tell you that your dawdle-thumbed incompetence will have dire consequences. That one isn't so bad. The raptor just mauls you a little bit before Gale makes a save, but in the near future, you'll be looking at instant death for your failure. I'll tell you a little more about that after we poke around this room, which is the beginning of a rather elaborate head-scratcher. 3 years have passed since the tragic disaster. The performance of the newest stabilizer will be tested in tonight's experiment. 3 years ago, the Third Energy destroyed the facility and killed as many as 150 personnel just from a single overflowing accident. So, to prevent a similar disaster from happening, we will take every possible precaution to reinforce our security. One more thing. We recently had a case in which someone used the terminal in this room and forged a fake ID to gain unauthorized access. Today we are going to have a meeting in the strategy room on how to cope with the problem. In any case, all personnel should protect the security of the terminal. Anyone leaving this room unattended should lock the door without fail. Somebody failed! Why bother, eh? Not worth the paper it's printed on. Here's part 2. The change of personnel documents for this individual have not been turned in yet. Paul Baker, pager number 1123. Researcher personnel changes. Old, section Special Aircraft Experiment Room. New, section 3rd Energy Stabilizer Experiment Room. Registration number 58104. Name, Paul Baker. Alright, so, if that didn't get your nefarious criminal cogs spinning, you're too pure for the villains at Capcom. What we're going to do here is forge ourselves an access card to get deeper into the facility. First step is to page Paul Baker. Now, this part is entirely unnecessary if you're a fan of good old-fashioned guesswork, because Paul Baker is a dead man, and all this does is give you a hand IDing his corpse. You remember poor old Mark Doyle lying outside the front entrance? Now, even though he had a document on him personally identifying him as Mark Doyle and not Paul Baker, Capcom thought you might need that jackhammered into your head a little harder, just like the many in-game attempts to explain the DDK discs. It's almost like, for some of the puzzles, they made them realize they were annoying, dense, and a bit boring, and then rather than change them, tried to cover their asses with memos. Lots and lots of memos. I honestly, I know a lot of you were looking forward to the Dino Crisis playthrough, but I've always been kind of amazed by the mass adoration for it in general. It really is one of these games I feel has been done a solid by nostalgia goggles. I'll say no more, you see what I'm talking about as we go, I think. Right now, we're going to poke our heads into the control room and get a little update from G.I. Joe and Chris Tucker here.
So how goes the search for the doc?
Nothing yet. I didn't find any sign of him on this level.
That leaves the underground area then. It's the only place left.
But there's no power down there, right?
Not yet.
That'll be your job, Regina. Restore the power to the underground area.
Well, let me tell you, you ever get to the point in your gaming career where you're sick and tired of QTEs pushing you through a dramatic sequence, or boss fight with the Colossus of Rhodes, or whatever? Come on back and play a danger sequence from Dino Crisis, or anything else where the game wants you to beat the shit out of every button on your controller at once. Swear to God, they used to absolutely murder your gamepad. There was some sort of conspiracy going on here to push peripheral sales through the roof. If they could have gotten away with telling you to evade a Tyrannosaur attack by throwing your PS1 under a bus, they would have done. Of course, Dragon's Lair and all the Laserdisc based arcade garbage that came with it preceded the good old button mash by at least half a decade. Did anybody ever legitimately beat Dragon's Lair when it first came out? Back before they re-released it with actual button prompts? No, they didn't. Stop lying. You might have noticed already one new technical switch over Capcom's previous survival horror super franchise, Resident Evil, in that while we're still working in third-person fixed camera viewpoints, the camera is now much more lively. It'll move to track Regina down lengths of corridor and across courtyards, enabling the more cinematic elements that director Shinji Mikami had wanted to see succeed the Resident Evil series. Since Resident Evil 3 was in production tandem to Dino Crisis, it kept the traditional pre-rendered backgrounds and static cameras in place, but it would be replaced by this 3D real-time design aesthetic in the very next mainline title in the series, Code Veronica. Now this is exactly the same puzzle as the first time around. You will feel an awful lot of repetition creeping in with these, I assure you. That's maybe my number one issue with Dino Crisis. There's more puzzles than fucking dinosaurs. You think I'm being over harsh, don't you? I can feel it already. Just wait until we're halfway in. Then get back to me. Yeah, I don't want to rag on it too badly here. I just let Rick say his piece here and then I'll get into the meat of what's wrong with this game.
That you, Regina?
Yeah. So, do we have power yet?
We're in the green, thanks to you. Look, I need you to come back here. There's something I have to talk to you about.
Is that you, Regina? No, you fucking dimwit. Someone else with my arm. Good lord. Anyway, look. To understand what underwhelms me about Dino Crisis, you can cut right back to the bone at the development stage and the director himself. Now, putting it politely, Mikami was disappointed with how the dinosaurs turned out here. For him, the PS1 was the fucking field of dreams where you could do anything, and not the console that was unable to properly render entire stages of Doom, which had originally come out 6 years prior. So he was fully confident he'd be able to implement full working dinosaur AI, like this, that could dramatically hunt you down, react to you based on your health condition, and exhibit individual behaviour and personalities. You can't escape being chewed on a bit there. All you can do is shorten the chewing with a boot to the honker. But of course, technical limitations being what they were, he had to settle for what the dinosaurs actually turned out to be, which is, again, putting it as gently as I can manage, a bunch of prehistoric dumbasses dressed in the illusion of advanced predatory behaviour by scripted events. And I mean, once you see through that very thin veneer, it's easily exploited and the game kind of loses its edge. More after this.
What's the emergency?
Gale just told me he saw someone on the underground monitor.
It flashed by pretty quick, but I'm sure I saw something. Rick, open the shutter to the underground area. What is it?
It's a distress signal from one of our team members. It must be Cooper.
Yeah, or it might be Tom. He infiltrated this facility posing as one of the researchers. Can you pinpoint the signal?
It's coming from outside of the building, to the east of the rear entrance we came in from.
Look, we'll deal with it later. Our first priority is the survivor in the underground. It could be the doc.
What are you talking about? He's asking for our help. We don't leave our own behind.
And what if it's a trap? Would you want one of us to come and rescue you?
Don't bother. I'm willing to take that risk.
Remember our mission. We're not here to babysit.
That's your way of operating, not mine. All right. You have your access to the underground, Gale. So get moving. You handle your things your way, I'll handle my things my way.
That punk is really starting to get on my nerves. Regina, I'm heading out to investigate the underground.
What a fucking mess this team really is. Alright, so there's a few instances in the game where you can split your paths. We're going to take Rick's just because they're usually more interesting and give you more scenes and story, but I'll show you what's up with Gale's path too. Seeing as, you know, he is actually right, our mission is to grab Dr. Kirk. And Rick is a horrible character. Well, they both are, but at least Gale doesn't belong in the script of a Wayans Brothers movie. Here, take a quick look.
Dr. Kirk? Hey, wait!
Regina, are you there?
What's going on?
I have a positive ID on the doctor. I lost him, but he's definitely in the lab area. Drop what you're doing and get over here.
I can see an elevator from here. Maybe I can use that to go down from the first floor.
Essentially, oh look, it's Rick. Hey Rick. I'll say it because Regina won't for some reason. Yeah, Gale's path takes you at the exact same places as Rick's. You just see Dr. Kirk a little earlier is all. Alright, I know you've been waiting for me to kill something, so here you go. Fuck off, Yoshi! The shotgun is an absolute beast for dealing with these pterosaurs, but only at point blank range. It's not going to do you a shit of good even if you're standing a few feet back, because unless you're firing to knock a raptor to the ground and leave it defenseless, do not bother. They will sponge your attack and jump on top of you for razor-clawed death cuddles. Works the same as Resident Evil as well. They ain't dead until you see the blood puddle. Don't let them fool you, because they're stupid as shit. What would that make you? I have a pretty slapdash approach to mixing, as you can see there. I don't really give a fuck what I'm making. It'll all end up as poison darts eventually anyway. You mix anything for long enough, it always turns into a poison dart. Alright, new dinosaur, finally. Welcome please, the Pteranodon, introducing itself via danger events. God, didn't even attempt to get out of the way of that, did you? The Pteranodon plans to smash you straight into this loading bay door, but hit the buttons fast enough and you can wriggle free. Ha! Fuck off! I'm sure I don't need to tell you what happens if you mess that up. That's pretty funny. Pteranodons attack almost exclusively with diving lunges, but will very rarely pick you up and drop you on your ass for a bit of extra humiliation. Same animation as when they grab hold of your corpse when they manage to kill you. Thankfully, they're fragile beasts and will plummet from the sky from but a single shotgun blast, making them more a pube-rustling annoyance than a bollock-abolishing threat.
They came out of nowhere. Didn't have a chance.
Tom, can you tell us what's going on here?
Kirk's insane. His experiments have nothing to do with energy development.
Tom!
Here, take this.
His wounds are pretty bad. We have to move him someplace safe immediately.
We're gonna fail spectacularly at that, I promise you. Absolutely spectacularly. But as I was saying, biggest problem with Dino Crisis is that it features very little of either dinosaurs or Crisis. Now what if I told you that you've already seen over half of the dinosaur types that are in the game? And of the other two, only one is legitimately dangerous. This game is seriously 95% raptors. Pteranodons appear very sparingly, the T-Rex only shows up as a boss fight, of which there is really only one right at the end of the game. We'll meet the compies very shortly, who literally cannot kill you. I mean, contrast that even to the very first Resident Evil, which had 12 unique enemies, plus zombie forest Speyer if you were playing the director's cut, plus at least 5 boss fights. And I'm not even touching the sequel that came out the year before this. And this really does seem like a pale imitation in more than just the bare aesthetics. Speaking of which, another problem Mikami and his team ran into was that by switching out to the new fully 3D engine instead of using the pre-rendered backgrounds that they were used to, they severely limited the environments they'd be able to use. Now, Mikami stated that he would have kept the vast majority of the action inside the facility even if that were not the case, reasoning that the tight corridors and rooms would work better at raising goosebumps in the player through sheer merit of claustrophobic tension. And you can see a little of that in the hybrid fixed camera panning down long corridors but refusing to move around corners, forcing you to take a lot of them blind. But at least one planned major section of Dino Crisis set in the outside jungle had to be canned because the engine couldn't handle it, which would really have helped break things up a little, because as this grinds on, it really does become quite scenically stale. That's one of the most irritating puzzles in the game right there. There's only one way those pipes go down and zero fucking clues on which order you have to hit the buttons in. I don't even understand the logistics of it. Like, there is literally only one combination that will attach these fucking things to the wall. Why is there an elaborate 6-panel remote setup that exists for no other reason than to give the engineer using it a massive margin to fuck it up? Because puzzles. Because Pipe Mania references. Who knows? Pteranodons. They are in literally 3 areas of the entire game. They get a danger sequence in 2 of them. Them's good returns. This one straight up tries to throw you into a fucking turbine fan. Struggle loose and look. How? How was he fucked up flying forwards that badly? No, don't skirt over it. I swear to... You all saw that. He flew off screen in a straight line, and then the next time you see him, he's literally nose diving into the fan. It's... You know what? There you go. Meteors and ice ages be damned. I guess the dinosaurs died out from suicidal depression. Of course, if you fail to make button mash fast enough, you go in there instead. A scene in which you can clearly see that the Pteranodon is unaffected by any sort of air suction that may appear to be caused by the fans, so don't give me any of that old shit as an excuse. Alright, lift's all fixed. Time to get Tom downstairs. To safety. Yeah, safety.
Finally, we have access to the elevator outside.
Good. Now we can head straight down to the underground. So you saw the beast, right?
Yeah. Pteranodon, wasn't it?
I meant you saw that it was a real dinosaur. It's unbelievable.
Didn't I tell you?
This is just like that movie. Regina. We have to hurry. Tom's not going to last much longer.
I'll clear a path by moving these containers. You just keep an eye on Tom.
Oh yeah, you thought you were getting out of this without an irritating crane puzzle? You were mistaken. Twice, because you have to do exactly the same puzzle again later. And then there's another crate maze that you have to shove around yourself very slowly, with 2 more crates thrown in than there were in the Japanese version, because you know what North American and European players love? Fucking crate mazes. We got t-shirts and everything. Swear to God, did the international market research guy spend a month in Amsterdam smoking dope and laying waste to the red light district with his dick, and then just tick any old shit on his surveys on the plane back to Japan? Alright, this one's pretty easy. You can move the crane hook in 4 directions, hook the crates and lift them up or put them down. You've got a limited number of commands you can put into each sequence, but you always wind up with more steps than you'll ever need. It's kind of confusing. I even did it this way, to be honest, because you can literally just input 1 command at a time and achieve exactly the same result, so who the fuck knows? Out of revenge for stealing their idea for a 3D survival horror engine from Silent Hill, Konami would later steal this room for Solid Snake's battle with Vulcan Raven in Metal Gear Solid. Officially unverified, but formally confirmed. It is known. You don't gotta do anything with the last crate, you can just leave it hanging up in the air right there. You know what else bugs me about this game? The spinning pickups. The physically rotating supply boxes levitating a foot off the ground. I feel like I should be trying to pop them with my light gun for 1,000 points, you know? It's just a very strange artistic choice.
Will do. Concentrate on the mission and leave the rest to me.
Right.
Strong words from Rick, who is currently in the middle of completely ignoring his fucking mission.
Oh yeah. If Gale gives you any more of his bull, be sure to beat him down for me, okay?
You'll be sorry to hear that of the 4 endings available in Dino Crisis, not one ends with Gale chasing Rick into the sea on a saddled Triceratops. More blood-drenched corpses with suspiciously unblood-drenched memos to marvel at here. Today's to-do. Prepare the DDKs needed to enter the laboratory area. Tomorrow I have to go to the computer room to do maintenance on Dr. Kirk's computer. But I think I left a DDK at the large size elevator control room when I went there yesterday to do the elevator maintenance. I'll have to check it later today. As for the other DDK, I think the rookie guy Tom, who was recently assigned to the laboratory area, has it. I'll have to borrow it from him. I have no idea how that jerk approached Kirk, but he seems to have gained his complete trust. It's weird how nobody knows his past history. But why not? We invented a great backstory for him. He was once mild-mannered Tom Seward, until a radioactive Apache shaman turned him into Tomahawk, Injun Avenger. Didn't he tell you? The backstory.
Watch out! Chew on this!
I can only assume Tom's talking about his own face because he's dead as shit now. Alright, just down this corridor is a danger event that only happens once in a blue moon. Didn't do it for me on this run, but I played it over until it did. You're welcome. A raptor jumps out of nothing short of thin fucking air, fixing to get himself a quick lunch before you boot him straight into the exposed electrical wires for a one-hit kill. No lethal outcome if you fail there, just a less impressive kick and a fight on your hands. Okay, new enemy type here, who again only appear like twice in the entire game. The Compsognathus. I'll give you a rundown right after this cutscene in the medical room.
Rick.
He's dead.
It's not your fault.
Yeah. I'll be in the control room.
Yeah, it's not your fault, Rick. You only managed to get disarmed and thrown to the ground by a mortally wounded man with an empty gun. Conscience clear, Rick. ID card there, and a tip on where to use it. Dr. Sherwood, the ID card on the desk belongs to one of my patients. Please hand it to Colonel Clay when he shows up. He told me that he was going to hold a meeting in the strategy room on the first floor to make preparations for tonight's experiment. Please make sure to hand the card to him since one is required to enter the strategy room. So, as I said a little while ago, the compies are the little green bastards who you most likely remember from that god-awful Jurassic Park sequel for mauling that kid and revenge-eating Peter Stormare. In Dino Crisis, they'll do nothing of the sort, acting as the most minor of annoyances in just 2 areas of the game, with their only attack being a pitiful leaping nip. They literally cannot kill you. I tried. They can very, very slowly pick your health down, like it took me 5 minutes of standing stock still and letting a swarm of them attack me to pull me down to the worst state, but I stood there for another 5 minutes on top of that, and no dice. Now, here's your in-game storage and supply system, the emergency box. These are dotted sparingly around the base and they come in 3 colours, green, yellow and red. Green boxes generally contain low-end healing and mixing agents, yellow boxes generally go up a tier and pop in some weak ammo, and the red boxes sort you out with a high-class Millionaires Club show. You can also use the boxes to store your crap that you don't need, but beware. These are not your magic chests from Resident Evil. They have very limited space, and if you ever want to get your stuff back, you can only do so by using another box of the same colour that you put it into. You also need plugs to use any of these boxes, which are frustratingly well hidden around the game in furniture and the general environment. Never as an obvious physical item, you're just expected to examine every square inch of every room until you find them. And the amount of plugs you have to use to open a box, which can be anywhere from 1 to 3, is decided by how useful the shit inside it is. Which is just summarily an absolute fucking mess. Like, there's not even enough plugs in the game, of which you'll only find half anyway, to open all the boxes, so you pretty much just have to take a gamble on them. Subjects, reinforcement of ID management. Earlier in the week, there was a case in which someone used the terminal that rewrites the ID cards to gain unauthorized access. This person acquired the fingerprint data from the corpse of a staff member who had died in the accident. He forged the dead man's ID by using the fingerprint data and entered the laboratory area by way of elevator. The problem is that the fingerprint collecting device can acquire usable fingerprint data even from a corpse. Since we will be having an experiment today, there will be many outsiders visiting this facility. When creating the ID cards for the guests, keep a careful eye on the device. A dead man's fingerprint, you say? Oh, no, nothing. Oh goodness, look at the time. It's corpse theft o'clock. Oh, I must be off. Toodaloo.